everybody, welcome back to Sawdust and Cornbread. I'm Laura Lee. If you are a first-time guest here today, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I put out new content every week. I've been staying inside, and I'm sure a lot of you probably have been doing that as well. And I decided to spend a little bit of this time inside working on a puzzle. I'm not a big puzzler. It's not something I've done a lot in my lifetime, but I have to say this is my favorite puzzle that I have ever done. It's one of these Disney Thomas Kinkade puzzles, and it has all of the gang on there. Mickey and Minnie are sitting by the campfire getting all cozy and warm. You see Donald and Daisy in the background. There's a big wooden lodge and some wooden chalets and ski resort type things up on the hill, and there's snow everywhere. It is just beautiful. And I'd like to preserve it without framing it, but still be able to hang it. So I'm trying something new today. This puzzle kit came with 3 puzzles, and inside came puzzle glue. I have never used puzzle glue before, so I thought this would be a neat thing to try for you guys. In case any of you are puzzlers, or if you're like me and you just do one special puzzle and you want to save that thing, you don't want to tear it back apart. I don't think the challenge is going to be getting the puzzle to hold together. I think the challenge is going to be to keep my cat off of the table and off of this puzzle for 24 hours, possibly 48 if I do the back as well. The good news is with the directions, you can do the front side first. I'm trusting and assuming that that puzzle glue is not going to cause any ill effects to my beautiful puzzle. It's not going to fade it or make it foggy. Ideally, you would want to put a board down before you start the puzzle. I didn't do that, but nothing to fear. I'm going to use some good old wax paper and slide that right under the puzzle. The puzzle kit came with a cardboard spreader. It's a little flimsy, but I think it's going to do the job. It'll be good to spread it out there on the surface of the puzzle. I followed the directions and began by putting a small amount in the center of the glue. And I noticed on the spreader one side is perforated, so I'm going to use a side that is not perforated in order to spread that glue evenly throughout the top of the puzzle. The directions do say to use a thin coat to begin with, and as I began pulling that glue to the side, I noticed that my spreader was dragging toward the end. That told me there wasn't enough glue on there, so I ended up adding an additional layer of glue beginning at the center and pulling that out to the sides. As I used the supplied cardboard spreader, I noticed it started getting a little bit flimsy as it took on glue. It's all right because that gives me a softer surface to spread with, but I'm thinking that probably one of the foam rubber paint spreaders may be better to do the job. For the purpose of this video, I'm trying to use only what's included with the kit, so I'll just continue using the spreader. I did have to add additional layers of glue because it started drying out. I decided to finish off this layer of glue by going up and down in a different direction, hoping that that would force it in between the puzzle pieces to have more even coverage. And we'll take a look at it tomorrow and see what it looks like, and then flip it over and do the back. The cat seemed to have safely removed himself from the puzzle. I don't see any damage, so he must have popped up there after it was already dry. I'm sure there's a few hairs to pick out. But let's take a look and see what it looks like, how strong it's holding it together after only gluing the front side of this. I'm going to gently take my hand and put it between the puzzle and the wax paper, lifting that off the bottom. I'm glad I used the wax paper because it is sticking in places, and I would rather it be stuck to the paper than the table itself. Now I'm going to take a look to see how well it's holding together, and I really don't like what I'm seeing. There's already pieces breaking apart. At this point, I can tell that I am going to have to put another layer of glue on the front of the puzzle. The instructions say at this point to flip it over and do the back, but it's not holding together well enough to do that. So I'm going to put these pieces back in here that fell out, and I guess it's back to the drawing board with another coat of glue on the top surface of the puzzle. This one bottle of glue is definitely only going to be enough to do one puzzle. It is not enough to do all 3 puzzles in the kit. I'm going to go ahead and continue using the supplied cardboard spreader, even though it's taken on some glue. I'm going to use some more glue here. Somebody's already curious and seeing what I'm up to. I'm going to make everything nice and flat, make sure nothing's sticking up, and I'm going to try a different method this time with the glue. I'm putting a line both vertically and horizontally in hopes that this will get better and more even coverage between those puzzle pieces. I'll just continue to spread that out. All right, that is trial number 2. We'll let that sit overnight. You wouldn't mess my puzzle up, would you? I guess you would. We'll just fix that little spot. Gotta love cats. Here we are the day after the second coat of glue, and as you can see, everything's held together really well now. There are a few pieces of stray wax paper stuck to the back, but that's no problem. They peel right off. Everything looks good and smooth and flat, and I think we are finally ready to do the back side of this puzzle. There isn't much glue left in this kit, but I'm going to try to make it work the best I can, spreading that out all over the back in all directions. Again, I want to use only what is supplied and let that dry overnight. Thankfully, everything looks good and secure. There's a little bit of roughness around the edges, but I'll get to that in just a minute. Here is the finished result. It's all one solid piece. It could easily be hung on the wall. If you're wondering how you could hang this on the wall, you could use binder clips with 2 thumbtacks at the top to hang it on the wall, or if you flip it over to the back, you could hot glue on some of those sawtooth picture hangers onto the back. You can find those in your hardware section, and then you could put that onto your wall as well. I've never used puzzle glue before, but I'm thinking the one that comes with those puzzle kits isn't the best quality. Another thing I'll point out is around the edges, there are some rough spots where the glue dried. Now that could have been user error there. That could have been because I put too much on there or should have wiped it off while it was wet. Since it's water-based, the best thing to do is get a little bit of water. I just dip my fingertip in there and put it on those rough edges, and as they get wet, they lay down flat, so you can't tell that that was even there. The process is pretty simple. I think if I had a better quality glue, I would be more pleased with the results, but I'm happy that I can hang it up, that it's preserved. I still feel like it needs a few more coats on the front and the back. There are a few pieces that want to give a little bit. I would feel more secure putting this in a frame, to be honest, with some kind of maybe plexiglass on the front. So there it is. If you ever need to preserve a puzzle or want to glue it together, that's the way to do it. That's the process. Let me know if you've tried this before. If you think I completely messed something up, let me know in the comments. I am open to suggestions. I don't puzzle that often, but this was a special one and I wanted to keep it forever. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I put out new content every week. Until next time, be blessed.